Hello. New year, new me. Quite literally the same old grind, day in and day out. I took a far too much time. I don't know. Maybe not far too much time, but I took a lot of time off at the end of last year. And oh my God, is it hard to get back into everything I need to do for this business. But I'm taking it one step at a time. And ultimately, let's be honest, you already know. I'm just winging it. Let's talk about that. I'm just kind of winging it. Okay, so I'm coming into this new year with a lot of excitement but trepidation. It really does feel like every single day I'm trying the same things over and over and over again, and I'm just looking for that next step. I don't know, to break, to move something forward. Hardest thing about this business is one, to think of it as a business. I have a heck of a lot of fun playing in front of the mic, throwing up a little camera, making dumb TikToks, getting to perform, as it were. I love doing those things, but the hardest thing for me to wrap my mind around and kind of just keep hitting it over and over again is the business side of this, the marketing, the getting my name out there, which is absolutely tragic because nobody's just going to lift a rock and see me there and say, "Oh, look at you, little buddy. Come with me. Let me give you some money and fame and glory." I'm not actually looking for fame, but you get the idea. It's not just going to fall into my lap, and I know that. I know that deep in my brain. I know that. But my God, marketing is the hardest thing. When I first got into this, when I started all of these things. I went, got my training version of it, got my demo, built my website, which, oh my God, I got to start thinking of taxes and renewing my website domain and keeping this whole thing going. Um, but when I had all that, when I finally got that, I thought like I checked enough boxes that I could start just emailing places. And that's what I did at the start of this. I just started assaulting so many places with an email saying, "Hey, are you looking for a voice actor? That's me." And oh my God, every single message I sent, I was staring at 10, 15 minutes, double checking the spelling, double checking the name. Yes, I was using a copy paste method. I was linking to my website, I was attaching my demo, and the anxiety just kept building. I don't know about you, but I know for me, I'm not great the through Christmas season, through the holiday season, people are giving a lot of gifts. I'm terrible at receiving gifts. I'm terrible at receiving accolades. I'm terrible at receiving. I do not think the best of myself all the time, little aside there, like, I go through my own therapies for that, but I don't think the best of myself. So when people give me things, I'm deep in my being uncomfortable. So promoting myself, trying to build confidence into people is so foreign to my brain and it just resists it. I want to say, because I truly, deep down, want to believe, I'm not sure. I don't know if I'm faking it till I make it. Title of this podcast would suggest that. But I struggle so much just to speak positively about myself, to promote myself, to say like I don't like when people try to sell me things entirely. So it does feel icky. It feels weird. It feels odd to try to sell to other people. But on the other side of that, in the same sense of when I was a server in a restaurant, not that I ever treated waiters or servers bad, but I had a different appreciation of it for it when I started being a waiter myself, when I started realizing how tough this job was and how just it could weigh on you, the interacting with customers. Now that I'm trying to sell myself, I do interact with salespeople differently than I did before. One of the more fun things for me in that is see them as human, just like I'm human. I see them just trying to hit that same nail on the head the same way I'm trying to hit the same nail on the head. It's increased my empathy for the struggle they're going through, and there's just a lot more understanding for me. So, I interact with them differently. I get reached out to somebody on LinkedIn or via email, and they're trying to, "Hey, I checked out your SEO, I checked out your marketing, I think my company could really benefit you." I'm starting to drop what I call the Uno reverse card of marketing. You're marketing to me, your business. Great. Thank you so much. Actually, I don't need your help right now if I don't actually need their help, which, spoiler alert, I don't actually have the income flow to benefit anybody yet, so I'm not taking their help, but I can respond to them and say, "Hey, you're coming to me looking for my business. I could actually use your business, so maybe we can work something out here." And I've had a few really good interactions with people, positive interactions, where on the far side of it, we kind of just agree, "Hey, if I come across anybody," because I talk to a lot of different people in this business, "if I come across anybody who could benefit from your services, I'll shoot them over your way. If you could send people my way," like, and we try and create this mutual back and forth. Like so many other things in this industry, it is not fast. It is not, there's this almost unspoken belief that instant gratification, not necessarily instant gratification, but faster than expected gratification is, or faster than is going to come is expected. And it doesn't come quick. None of this comes quick. So much of this is me just planting little seeds wherever I can. And I am just hoping for a return on that. I've I seeds is a terrible thing because 'cause I've never been a gardener. I struggling to keep the plants in my house alive, but they are lovely and they are thriving currently. But the big thing, just like with gardening, just like with anything, the more you know, the more you learn, the more you experiment around with things, the further you can go. I am still anxious every single time I send a marketing email. I am still double checking through everything, copy and pasting with a little bit more. But honestly, a bit of my confidence has come out in that, or like my faked confidence, feigned confidence. I don't know. I am getting more confident around the messages I send to companies, to people, to individuals. That doesn't mean anything's landing perfectly, but I'm sending it out there. The more I experiment, the more I find my voice. And this industry is all about finding your voice. Go figure, in the voice acting industry, you got to find your voice. This is a lot of me just talking about marketing. I started the story of how I started doing this and kind of, I want to talk through what I experienced and what came of it. When I first came out and I had my demo, I had my website, I had checked all those boxes. I decided I needed to market. I knew I needed to market because, again, nobody's just going to say, "Oh, there you are. Let me get that voice." So I Googled in my area. I'm in Cincinnati. So I just started messaging around. I started Googling explainer companies, production houses. Um, those were the main things I was trying to get into. In my past life, one of my past careers, I was a trainer. So I was hoping to as well be able to get into some e learning things. My demo that I got created, although I wish in hindsight I should have made a commercial demo, I have a narration demo. And I think there are some ways it could be improved upon, but I have a narration demo. It's great. It's fantastic. It actually did book me one job last year, and that was straight from demo, no audition. And that occurred because I got started emailing places. And I emailed all these production houses. I emailed all these explainer companies, video companies. I found forms I could fill out, but none of that went anywhere. None of those, I got a couple of responses of just like, "Thanks for your message. We placed you in our database." But that was it. And that's great. Those are good. To get a response at all is like, wow. But I had to get creative. And you'll hear that so much. Find your voice, be creative, stand out. But how? I don't know my voice in this industry yet. I know it now more, but I still am trying to find it every single day, constantly learn. This is a ever growing, ever learning industry. But how do you stand out? How do you get creative? One of the things I started doing, just because I sat in on a webinar for somebody who was trying to sell me their services, and one of the people said they were reading for a center for the blind and visually impaired in Cincinnati, actually. So I Googled that place, and sure enough, there's volunteer opportunities to read magazine articles, periodicals, um, newspapers for people who are blind and visually impaired. And I was like, I could do that. That would be great practice, and it would be something that benefits somebody. I love that. I want to do that more. So I jumped in and started doing that a lot. As I'm thinking and considering what that means for people, I love the thought of accessibility of all kinds. Accessibility so everybody can. I love stories, and I want everybody to be able to appreciate stories. And if there's a segment of people who can't get to the stories that are being told, I want to find a way to help do that. So, yeah, I jumped into that, and it got me thinking. There are so many other things within my city. Uh, Cincinnati actually has a huge presence of arts things. We have an amazing orchestra. We have plays and museums, and there's some really cool things happening in this city. So I thought, why not reach out to some of these arts places? Why not ask them, like, hey, what kind of accessibility things do you have? Or, hey, I'm a voice actor. Is there anything you could use a voice for? And I started reaching around to some of the arts things. This is the kind of marketing that I believe it was creative. It actually ended up I emailed a person who was part of one of these arts places. They connected me to someone else, to a few someone else's actually, and we opened up this conversation. Like, that's the warm intro is so nice, and it really benefited me because that person then reached out to somebody else who then called me and asked me to do a job for them, and I ended up getting the chance to do a promotional radio spot for a art classic radio station here, WGUC. It was great. I don't know if that recording's anywhere for you to be able to hear other than just listening to. I listened to the radio for hours, hours and hours and hours, just having it in the background as I was trying to market myself more until I finally heard that spot. And, ugh, that feeling of getting to hear myself on the radio was just so cool. Yeah, creative marketing. Marketing is tough. Marketing is really, really tough, especially when it's like, I don't know what to say about myself. But the biggest thing that I'm getting as I talk to people in this communities that I find myself within, people who have been doing this a lot longer, that direct marketing is kind of the key. So kind of coming into this new year, kicking things off, first episode of what I'm going to call the second season, because it's my podcast. I can do what I want. Marketing. And with this being a new year, I want this year to be different than last year. I have been doing this. I've been saying I've been doing this full time for the last year. I want to make sure that every week I am doing this full time, not taking time. I need to make sure I'm putting in full time work. There are some days where I'm letting the wheels spin, but they're kind of just spinning in the mud and there's no forward momentum. And those are good days. I'm not saying those are bad days. There's still benefit to taking a day to kind of refuel and reset. But for me, that can't be every day. Every single week, I need to make sure I'm sending out messages. I built my 2023 business goals, and I don't know that they were as fleshed out as they are now in 2022. In 2023, I have a lot of things written down, and I'm going to go back and review through them and figure out what are my quarterly goals here. Not necessarily with booking things, because there's a degree of I don't have control of that, but I do have control of how often I audition. I do have control of how often I market myself. I do have control of how often my website gets updated and tweaked, and even this is something that I can do to just continuously get myself out there, to continuously try to move forward without just spinning wheels. So, I came in here just to sort of say, "Hey, welcome to 2023. We're moving forward. Time is moving forward, and it's not gonna wait. We have to keep moving, and I'm gonna keep moving. I want you to keep moving with me. I have a whole list of ideas in my mind of things I'm gonna talk about here on how I'm just winging it, but, I gotta flesh it out more before I can talk more about what's next, but I'm excited for 2023 and what that's gonna mean for my business. I'm excited what that could mean for your business, and honestly, let's just keep winging it together. Cheers.